This is EbonyMan2K. Sansa the Red is about to get smoked out the hole, bruh. Oh yeah, she about to get smoked out the hole. Fellow YouTuber Jack Gully and I are working together right now to put an end to all of this foolishness. I've already done my research for the grand opening, and I'm confident Jack is about to follow through with the grand closing. Also, shout out to YouTuber Mona Simone for her thorough work in this matter as well. We're going to jump right into a recent video of Sansa for review. I chose this video to show new viewers an example of how delusional she is. But I also caught something while listening. The statement she makes around the 16-minute mark is a bit peculiar, considering the matter at hand. Let's listen now and compare notes at the end for review.
Listen. I just finished doing a live stream about money and about living under 10K and how living under 10K is you living in poverty, basically. So go check that out so you can get a better understanding, okay? You can check out my Money Talks playlist, my finance playlist, and it should be there. So I wanted to go over something about my son's father, my son's fathers with an S, okay? My son's fathers with an S. Make sure you thumbs up the live stream. This is a members only live chat. So you cannot chat unless you are a member. Okay? I'm going to be doing all of my live streams like that. Again, I just finished a live stream, but that live stream was open. So if you were in that live stream, I appreciate you being there. I had to start another live stream to talk about this specifically. Okay, so if you have been watching my channel for a long time, you know the story of me and my son's father, Priest. Okay. And you also know of my son's father's, my son's godfather, Michael. All right. And Michael, after finding out that Priest and Sidonia was on Tommy's channel, Tommy Sotomayor, Tommy Sotomayor, the man who hates all black women, or sometimes, or certain black women. Let's just put it like that. Tommy hates certain black women. Tommy goes on to, Priest and Sidonia decided to go onto Tommy's channel, right? This was about 6 months ago. Michael, who is my son's godfather, saw this interview with Priest and Sidonia on Tommy's channel. And so Michael decided to do a small audio, and I posted the audio up onto this channel. You can go look at it. All of that stuff is still there. And inside of the video, the audio, Michael was talking about how he's known me for a couple of years, and I'm not the type of woman that Priest tried to depict me to be on Tommy's channel. Now, here's the interesting thing. So, Michael has known me since I was pregnant with my son. Priest only stayed in my life for about 6 months. So by the time Michael posts this audio about how he feels about Priest, because he never liked Priest. By the time this audio is posted, and by the time Priest and Sidonia have done this interview on Tommy's channel, Michael has known me for about 2 or 3 years. Okay. So Michael is saying all of these positive things about me in this audio, and he's saying the way that Priest is depicting me is not who I am, right? And that's very true, because I think Priest just wanted people to think I was a bad person so it could justify the negative shit that he had done. And one of the things that Michael had pointed out as far as Priest went was that inside of this interview that him and Sidonia did, they really didn't talk about justice. Okay? Justice, our son. The Priest did not talk about abandoning his son or what being a father or anything like that. The conversation was only to drag me and try to depict me as something that I'm not. All right. And so this is what Michael ended up picking up on. Michael, my son's godfather. And so when I first met Michael, right, Michael used to send me pizza every Friday. Okay, I was pregnant when I met Michael. He used to send me pizza every Friday. I used to call him the Pizza Fairy. And he used to send me pizza because, you know, pizza is something that I craved when I was pregnant. So he used to just send it to me. And he was always there for me financially. If I needed anything, Michael was there. Even after Justice was born, Michael was there for Justice financially. I don't care what Justice needed. I don't care how much money. I could have needed $1,000. I could need $5,000. Michael was going to send it to me. Okay? Because he wanted what was best for me and my son. He was so good to me. I don't care when I called him. I could have called him at 2 a.m. Michael would answer the phone. He was always there. Okay? I could reach out to him, text him, whatever him. He was always there. All the time. And so, of course, I wasn't ready to be in a relationship. Right? So, Michael and I never, like at first, weren't trying to be in a relationship. So somebody came into my comment section last night and they put on the video of Michael talking about me positively to the world, right? They put in the video, in the comment section, that my son's godfather, Michael, couldn't be trusted because Michael was in love with me and would say anything. And my thing is, why is it so hard to believe someone that genuinely knows me and someone that trusts me and loves me versus my son's father who admitted that he didn't love me and was bad for me? Like, why would it be easier to trust my son's father over my son's godfather, who is someone that genuinely cares for me, who genuinely knows me and has known me longer than my son's father? I don't understand that with people. I don't understand, you guys, when you can judge me so harshly as a person, and anytime someone says something positive about me, as far as my son's father and I go, that's difficult for people to believe. But it's so much easier to believe the negative lies that are told about me, right? Why is that so easy to believe? So they were saying Michael couldn't be trusted. You know, he loves her. He's going to say whatever, you know, she wants him to say. And no, Michael genuinely said more than what I thought he was going to say in this clip. If y'all haven't checked out this clip, you can go. It's still there. Of Michael, my son's godfather, talking about priests. Now, here's the fucked up part. All right. Michael, like sometime before Christmas, right? I think it was like November, something like that. Michael started acting funny. All right. He started acting like weird. And I think it might have been before that. He started acting like crazy. He started I couldn't find him. I didn't know what was going on. He wasn't saying something was wrong, but he was acting strange. And I would ask him, like, are you okay? You know, what's going on with you? And he wouldn't really tell me. And then sometime, like later on, sometime like after the New Year, I think this was after the New Year, I can't remember. Michael hit me up from Utah. This nigga had left Oakland and didn't tell me. He just left. He didn't come see me. He didn't call. He didn't nothing. He just left for Utah. And I was like, when he told me, I was like, you where? Because his mother lives here in Oakland and she is sick. So he usually takes care of her. So I'm thinking, you live where? He had left me behind. his mother behind, his family behind, and moved to Utah. So I'm like, what? Why are you in Utah? He says to me that basically the entire time I've known him, that he's been in a relationship with another woman who lives in Utah, and she ended up with cancer, and he went to Utah to take care of her. I was like, what? Now, mind you, I had no idea Michael had a girlfriend. When I first met Michael, he and I started talking. I didn't know that he had a wife, because he has a wife. And his wife and his girlfriend aren't the same people. His wife, he's been supposedly separated from for like 6 years, right? And he accidentally told me about this wife one day when we just happened to be talking, and he said that them two met up to clean out their storage unit. So the whole time we were like in this friendship, meaning the whole time I was pregnant, my son's first year of birth, right? My son's first year after birth, all this time, I'm thinking Michael is like this single guy who's my friend. And eventually when we started getting closer, like we were about to start dating, we're dating, like slick dating, and I find out that this nigga has a girlfriend in Utah, and he done left without saying shit and moved to Utah. My son's godfather. Somebody who has always been extremely kind to me, good to me. I mean, good to me. You guys don't understand. Good to me. Just up and left. Didn't say goodbye. Didn't see my son. Just left. And it's still in Utah. And it's been months. He's still there. Never left. Never left. Fallon, he is a narcissist. A narcissist. My thing is this with Michael. He used to hate priests. He used to hate the fact that priests didn't really tell me the truth about how he felt about Sidonia. Everybody knows the story of me, priest, and Sidonia. Sidonia and priest made me believe that they was separated and they wasn't feeling each other and likely fucking each other the entire time priest was with me. And they didn't even end up getting divorced until after my son, maybe a year after my son was born. Michael could not stand priest. He hated priest. But he was guilty of doing the very thing that priest did. Now, mind you, I was friends with Michael for 2 years before I even considered trying to date him. All right? So the whole, take your time when you're dating, because if you move too fast, it's going to be the demise of your situation. I took my time. Never had sex with Michael. Nothing. Nothing. And this nigga, I was like, oh my God. Now, what made me think about Michael, not just because of the comment somebody left last night, I gave Michael access to my Facebook page. Meaning access, like, you know how you can have people who are administrators of like your Facebook page, to where if something happens to you, if you pass away, the people that are in your life that are attached to this page can control your Facebook page. So 3 days ago, right, I'm chilling and I get an alert, and it says Michael has deleted your Facebook page. He is scheduled to delete your Facebook page is scheduled to delete in 14 days. I'm like, Michael, I haven't heard from Michael since the nigga told me he moved to Utah. Because once he told me he moved to Utah to be with some chick that he had been with the whole time that he never told me about, I stopped talking to him. Because when you've been friends with somebody, listen, I was his friend 2 years. 2 years we just been friends, and that's it, and just started to really try to date. And the nigga just suddenly stops calling and shit and disappears, and then calls me after I've been calling, checking up on him, trying to see what's wrong. I'm thinking he dead or something. He finally resurfaces and tells me he done moved to Utah to take care of his girlfriend, who's been his friend for years on top of years, been his girlfriend for years on top of years on top of years, that he didn't tell me about, and he moved to Utah to be with her because she got cancer. Oh my God! Like, oh, I was like, what? So when I was upset and I told him to stay out of my life, I asked him, I was like, what about your family? What about your mother? You take care of your mom. What about justice? What about me? Like, you just gonna leave like that and not say nothing? Not even see me? Not even let me know, like, Sasaray, I'm moving to Utah? I was like, ugh. So I stopped talking to him. And then the other day, I get this message that he was trying to delete my Facebook page because I had made him an administrator for my page. And I forgot I had made him an administrator. I would have never I would have never remembered that if he had not done it. And so, excuse me, I had to take him off as administrator and cancel the deletion of my Facebook page. And of course, you guys know I do Facebook Watch. So if he'd have deleted my page, he'd have deleted my Facebook Watch channel. And it would have been a bad business move for me, and I would have had to start over with my Facebook page, and that would have made me mad because I put a lot of work into my Facebook page. You know, all of my social media profiles are all about business. You know, I don't have any personal social media. It's all has something to do with, you know, what I do professionally, you know, being a TV personality, being a social media personality, being an influencer. It's all professional to me. It's all business to me. And I said this before. I said this. The men in my life, when things go wrong in our situation, or I get to a point where I don't want to deal with them anymore, because here's the thing. Before I get to that, a lot of men that I have dated have wanted me to, like, be with them through their bullshit. They want to sleep with other women, but they want me to stay there and watch them do it. They want me to be the type of woman that loves them so much that I'll stick with them through anything. And that includes them being with other women, right? This is what men have wanted from me. And I noticed this a long time ago. It's men have never, no man I've ever been with has been so supportive as far as my career goes to where they'll help me with it. You know, they've been more like, oh, I don't want you to do this. I don't want you to do that. You know, I want you to, well, most men have wanted me to sit home and be a housewife. All they wanted me to do is be pretty, chill, sleep with them, cook, clean. That's it. And so I never had been in a relationship with someone who had been like so supportive where they cheered me on. And that's a problem for me. Like, I never required that. You know, I just noticed that they didn't do it after we've been together for a while. So, like I said in my last video, when I was talking about how I ended up being homeless and in a hotel, it was because I was with Priest, and Priest wasn't very supportive of me financially, right? And business wise, he wasn't supportive of my YouTube channel, you know. And so what I feel like with men is when things don't go right with us and I decide to cut them off altogether. Because see, it's a difference between you going through something with somebody and you still sitting there arguing back and forth with them, trying to work it out. I'm not the try to work it out type of person. I have boundaries and standards and limitations. So if there's something that you do that cross the line, that's it. And usually when I'm dating a man, I tell him what it is, so they know what it is, you know. So when I find out that that line is crossed, I don't deal with them at all. And so when I get to a point where I'm not dealing with them at all, what they try to do after that is attack my business. They attack my social media presence. They go out and try to depict me as like this mean person or this person that did something to them, when the reason why we're not dealing with each other is something that they chose, something that they did. And then my response was, I don't want to deal with you at all. So what I feel like with Michael, with him sitting here trying to delete my Facebook, because I guess he thought he was going to delete it, and YouTube wasn't going to, Facebook wasn't going to contact me or give me 14 days to change my mind. I'm believing that Michael was just trying to ruin something for me, to get my attention, to get a response out of me. And it's sad that men have done that to me, and I've noticed that pattern with guys. And that's the fact that I noticed that now. If I do decide to start dating somebody on a serious tip, one of the things that I'm definitely going to require from these men is, number one, you have to be supportive in regards to my career, regardless to what it is that I'm doing. If you are not supportive of my career and you disapprove, you and I don't need to be dating. Okay, don't sit here and pretend like you are supportive when really you're not. Okay, don't do that. All right, that's number one. Number two, this is what I learned from Priest. That I needed a man that understands the concept of unity, right? To where if I'm not in his presence and he hears someone speaking negatively about me, we're one unit. So if they disrespect me to him, they disrespect him. And this is what Priest didn't understand when people were coming to him on social media, speaking negatively to him about me. He didn't defend me like he should have. Like, anybody saw me, like you guys saw me when I was dating Priest, and people would say negative things to me about him, and I would defend him. Right? He didn't do that for me. He didn't do that for me. So I just feel like when Michael and Priest are two men that have taught me a lot about what it is I actually need in a relationship. And what I noticed about being around people who depict themselves as perfection, I can see the difference between the facade now and something real. Because now that I look back at Michael, he was just too perfect. He was just too good. You know what I mean? Like, he was too good to be true. Even my family relied on Michael, to be there for us. So that's how good he had me in. He had me thinking he was genuinely my friend. And then, excuse me, no friend of mine what is going on with me? I must be hungry. No friend of mine would just disappear on me and my son like that, especially if they're my son's godfather, especially if they're taking care of me financially, especially if they tell me that they're my friend. They're not just going to up and move to another state and just not say anything. And that's just not it. They're not going to have a girlfriend or somebody that they're in love with and not tell me that. The part of being friends, all right, is you being comfortable enough, even if you're dating someone. We got such a cool friendship that if you are interested in somebody else, you just flat out say that to me. Just flat out say that to me, because I'm your friend. You should be able to confide in me about anything. That's how I feel about, if I'm dating a guy. I've always put friendship first. And so when things don't work out, or he treats me as if we haven't built some type of friendship, that's what hurts. When I'm not, when things go wrong inside of these relationships, because in each relationship that I've ever been in, I've been their friend first. And that's what it was with me and Priest. I felt like I was his friend first. If he felt anything or if he wasn't feeling me like that, that's fine. Just say that and I move on with my life. I'm not gonna be all up in your face and try to get you to be with me and all of this stuff. Nah, just tell me what's up so I can find somebody that genuinely wants me. And that's another reason why I'm kind of upset that Priest and I have a baby together, because I feel like I could have had a baby by somebody who genuinely cared for me. Not you, asshole. And so anyway, with Michael, it's just like a man I ain't even had sex with, a man that I wasn't even in a committed relationship yet, still ended up being the man that did the very thing that Priest did. So this is another reason why when you get out of one relationship, you really got to take the time to be by yourself and discover who you are and what you are achieving. How do you think of yourself? What is it that you genuinely need? Who are you? Because a lot of times people don't really know what they need. They don't even know what they're attracting. I feel like I attracted Michael right after I got out of a relationship with Priest. And Michael and Priest are derivatives of each other. Michael was just a guy that I didn't take the next step with yet, but he was just as guilty and just as bad as Priest. But Michael always depicted himself as the superhero and Priest as the villain, when really they both was villains. And this is what I attracted. Another person that was going to lie to me. And I'm telling you, it sideswiped me. Just like when Priest did what he did. It sideswiped me. I had no idea. I was like, literally, that's the type of person you are? Get the fuck out of here. Because you never, I never thought in a million years that my spidey senses would be so off that I could meet not one, but two men who could be hiding their love for another woman from me, with our friendship being the way that it was. You know what I mean? And it just made me understand that men are so good at hiding shit. They're so good at lying and manipulating that even if you're just friends with them, they could have you so wrapped around their finger that you have no idea what they're doing. And that shit is dangerous. And men only see what they want. They only have tunnel vision. They only see what they want at the end of the tunnel. So whoever they hurt in the meanwhile, whoever they lie to or manipulate along the way, they don't even think about that shit until after the fact, until after it's too late. And I understand that about men now. And so my standards are now even more higher than they were after I dated Priest. Now my standards was high when I dated Priest. They were high, and I was giving this dude the benefit of the doubt because he couldn't meet my standard. And it honestly says a lot about what I genuinely thought about him, because I must have genuinely thought low of him from the very beginning if I felt like in order for him to reach my status or be able to be around me, I had to lower my standards so he can achieve or so he can accomplish, being the man that I needed. He was never the man that I needed. If you gotta put it like this, ladies, if you got to lower your standards in order for the man that you are interested in to actually be the man of your dreams, then he's not the man of your dreams. He's not good for you. And I feel like with Priest, I kind of knew it was me dating down. Even though he had a lot of good qualities, he was missing so much. And instead of me holding up my standard, I lowered my standard and gave him the benefit of the doubt. It ended up with a guy that wasn't really up to par to begin with, because of course he wasn't going to be up to par to begin with because I lowered the standard. So with Michael, right, my standards was higher with Michael. And it kind of burns me up on the inside that he kind of used my son to get close to me. And then when he saw that he could, I guess he could have the opportunity to save someone, because he might have like a hero save complex, he ran straight to Utah to be with a woman and take care of a woman who had cancer. Now, to me, that's admirable, to take care of somebody who is ill. But I just feel like when I was sick, right? You guys remember when I was pregnant with my son and I was so sick and I couldn't really do too much of anything. I was left by myself. And so this is another reason why I kind of was like upset with Michael. It was just like, I don't even know if I want to use the word upset. Maybe I was jealous, right? Because when I was sick, no one came to my rescue as far as my man goes. Like, people from the internet gave me donations, but to be there for me, to take care of me, to make sure that I ate, to make sure that I was feeling well, just to watch over me, no one was there. And that person was supposed to be Priest, and he wasn't there. And speaking of soulmates, Fallon, you're talking about soulmates. You said, I've learned that they're soulmates. Soulmates teaches us lessons, what we want, don't we really are, and heal childhood issues we didn't realize was there. That's very true. I still feel like, to some degree, I had some type of soul tie. Like I always talk about my soul tie with Priest. I do feel like I had a soul tie with him. I called him my spiritual husband. I had a soul tie with Michael. But sometimes these people that you have these soul ties with, it's temporary, you know. But I do feel like maybe I was a little jealous because I felt like Michael ran to this woman when he found out she was sick, and I didn't have anybody there. As kind as I am to the men that I date, I didn't have anybody there. As kind as I was to Priest, he wasn't there, you know. And I could see if I was like a bad person to these women, to these men. You know, if I was a bad woman to these men, then it would make sense. Then it would be like, oh, that's why they didn't come to you, or that's why they treated you the way that they treated you. It would make sense to me. But because I was so good to these guys, that's what bothers me. I was so nice to them. And with Michael, I was more precautious because I just got out of a relationship with Priest. And when I met Michael, I was still pregnant. And then I had to deal with my first year with Justice. So once Justice got a little older and I felt like it was time for Justice and Michael to, you know, start building a relationship, is right when he moved to Utah and was with this other woman. And it made me feel, I was just so upset with him. I cried. I was so upset with him, and I just never talked to him again. I haven't talked to him since. And then for me to get onto Facebook, get that alert from Facebook that he tried to delete my Facebook page. It's just like, what are you doing? You know, you trying to ruin, you know, my professional life, just kind of like how Priest tried to do. Because Priest's biggest thing on social media was like, let's come together and try to get her Facebook page, her YouTube channel taken down. Why would you want my YouTube channel taken down when it's a source of income for me and your son, number one? Number two, because I'm telling the truth about who you are and what happened between us. Is that it? Because I'm telling the truth? I could see if I was lying. Then you could feel some type of way. Like, yeah, the bitch is lying about me on YouTube. No, I was literally telling the truth about our situation. Like, hardcore, raw truth about our situation. And I don't see a lot of people doing that. A lot of people be scared. Me, I was not scared of that. And so, what I noticed the pattern, and I think I noticed this with Priest, that the pattern when me and a guy that I'm dating, when we break ties, the first thing he tries to do is destroy my career or destroy something that, you know, he helps me with somewhat. Like, maybe he was a moderator, or maybe he was a comp. Maybe he like Priest used to take money from my graphic design clients. You know what I mean? Like, he used to be the one that did the money transaction because I wanted him to manage my graphic design business while I did all the graphic design, because then it would take a lot of the responsibility off of me. And I was going to have him do the books, the accounting. I was going to teach him that stuff because he wanted to learn more about money and finance. He wanted to be in investing. So all of the stuff that I knew about money and business, I was going to teach him. So in my graphic design business, I was like, all right, if I could just get him to just start taking payments first and learn that, then I'll start teaching him the other stuff. He fucked that up. Because it's terrible. So I just noticed a pattern with the guys that have tried to date me, and once it's over and I discontinue talking to them altogether, they try to do whatever they can to destroy my business and my reputation, my money, and my, you know, the things that I've worked so hard on most of my life. And it almost makes me feel like when I was with them, they was jealous of that to some degree, you know, because why would that be the first thing that you do? Because see, my thing is, I knew that my son's father loved his job. He had this job. Priest loved this job that he worked at. And he worked at City Hall in Atlanta. And he would help put together the events there. They used to have a lot of events all the time because, you know, the mayor would come and, you know, it's City Hall. So they would have like New Year's Eve events and Christmas parties and all type of philanthropic events. And people would come in and out, and he would have to set up for these events. And he loved his job so much. When he and I broke up, nothing in me said maybe I should try to get him fired from his job. Right? Maybe I should try to get him fired from his job. Knowing he loves this job, regardless to what he's doing to me, that's deceptive or ugly. The last thing I'm gonna do is like call his boss and be like, by the way, every woman that comes into City Hall, he's basically sexually harassing, asking for their phone number and trying to date them and shit. That's what he used to do. Girls used to come in City Hall and have to do community service. Okay? And when girls would come in there, he would try to holler at them and basically build these relationships with them and end up sleeping with some of them. You know, and that's what he used to use his Instagram for. On his Instagram page was a whole bunch of women that used to go to City Hall and needed to do community service. And so he would follow them on Instagram and chit chat with them through Instagram. And so, did I call his job and be like, by the way, you know, such and such is happening? I could have, but I didn't. You know, and that would have definitely had him lose his job. So I don't. That's not the first thing I think of. I don't think of, well, what else can I destroy in this person's life simply because we're not together? You know, that's not my thought process. So it's a shame that these men think that. How many women experience this? But you have to wait. Exactly, they're preparing us for our life partner. But look at you now. How many women experience this? But you have a platform for the women how to bounce back. Exactly. But here's my thing about this. I think a lot of people think because I share the stories about bouncing back that I just want to tell my business or I just want to make him look bad. Nah, he made him look bad. If he do something positive, I'll say, oh, he did something great. He did something positive. He was a great person. Just how I used to talk about him when he and I was together. When he and I was together, I used to talk about all the positive things that he did. And that's every guy. You know, even guys that I haven't lived in years, and guys, usually I'm still their friend. So it's easy for me to say something good about an ex. But if I'm sitting up here and I'm telling you something negative about an ex of mine, and I'm telling you some real shit about this dude, I'm telling you how I survived this shit. And relationships like the relationship I had with my son's father break women apart. Like women, you guys, I think a lot of people just don't understand how women are genuinely built. And how a lot of the things that happen between us and men kind of destroy our manhood. And you know how our manhood, our womanhood, you know how men protect their manhood. You know how men, like certain things you can't say because their manhood is such a fragile thing that they try to protect. Well, women, we have femininity. We have things that we protect as well. So when I'm going through this thing that I'm going through with my son's father, and people are seeing me get on the internet and I'm crying and I'm talking about me being pregnant and I'm talking about the verbal abuse. I'm talking about, you know, all of the manipulation and all of the things that I've been through. I'm talking about these things to help other women understand that, yeah, I went through this. This is what I went through. I made it through. I'm fine. Yeah, I had postpartum depression. Yeah, I had to go to counseling. Yeah, I gained a lot of weight from emotional eating because it was a very traumatic experience. But this is what I'm doing to get out of all of this. This is what I had to do to get out of all of this. And it's stages. It's stages. And that's what you get to see if you look at my YouTube channel. If you go back to the videos that I posted from the time I met my son's father, right, which was in 2017, and to now, and it's 2020. If you see that, if you go from back there and start watching, you will see the progress in me. You will see how I changed and how I became a better person. Yeah, I'm still silly. Yeah, you know, I make mistakes sometimes. I'm not a perfect woman, but I'm a lot better woman than I used to be. And I want women to see that. I want especially younger women, because my demographic is like women between the ages of like 22 and like 45. And so I used to base my content on helping men all of the time. And when I ended up with my son's father and I saw men celebrate how poorly this man treated me, when I seen them be so happy to see a man abandon a woman with a child. I just never seen so many men take delight in stomping a woman down ever. I had never seen that. And for them to take pride in a man stomping a woman down that supported them for such a long time really surprised the fuck out of me, because my whole YouTube channel was based on me supporting men and me teaching men how to interact with women. My channel was based on relationship advice. And I would do cooking tutorials sometimes. I would do other types of videos. I would do videos about money. I would do videos about business. I would do videos about graphic design. But I had never seen so many men try to drag me down and put me down until my son's father abandoned me in a hotel pregnant. And so many men cheered him on for it. And so this is what made me decide to start doing more content for women. So women can understand, if this is happening to me, right? If this happened to me, I know it has to be happening to a whole bunch of women. And so when I started getting emails from women were emailing me like, Sansaray, I see that you're going through blah, blah, blah. Well, this is my story. And they just start sending me stories of how they're going through single motherhood alone and how the fathers of their children are doing blah, blah, blah. And then it was even girls like, hi, Sansaray, I'm a mistress right now and I'm pregnant, but my son's father is married to someone else and he won't tell his wife about me. All types of different stories. And the fact that a woman could look at me with me being 100% without me being a mistress, because I did talk about being a mistress before to a completely different man. But priest, I was never priest mistress. And so even with me telling the story about being a mistress before was positive to women. And I think men want me to be a specific way in their eyes instead of who I am. You know, I'm me. I'm not the version of who you want me to be. Men always want women to be their version of a princess or a queen instead of who we are. And that's the reason why most women are honest about their sexuality. They are honest about being mistresses. They are honest about, the mistakes that they made and the poor choices in men. Because when we do say, I made a poor choice in a man, and the reason why I made a poor choice in a man, because I was all deep in love and shit, and I was just trying to stick by his side because people always try to convince women to be this down-ass chick, but men don't stick with women through that. Listen, they tell you can't turn a hoe into a housewife, right? We heard that. Can't turn a hoe into a housewife. But these men expect us to turn these homeless, jobless, convicted felons into husbands and kings. Y'all expecting us, like men are expecting us to take them as they are, right? With all of their baby mamas, all of their debt, all of they goddamn emotional issues and trauma and shit. But we supposed to be perfect. And that's the problem. That's the problem I saw. So I was like, okay, what's the remedy to this problem? Oh, I have a platform, right? So I'm going to use my platform to tell my story, not care what people think about me, because you can't. You can't have that type of fear. You can't be worried about what people think about you and get on the platform and start telling stories. Because people always going to have an opinion about you as a person. All I keep doing is trying to get people to be respectful when they talk to me, especially men. Like, talk to me with some respect or I'm going to just block you. Like, I'm not going to sit up here and go back and forth with you. That's just a waste of the goddamn time. So, anyway. So, what I noticed about my son's father, my son's godfather, most of the committed relationships I've been in, and I only been in, I can count on one hand, because I usually do long-term relationships, right? So, before I met my son's father, I dated Kumari for like 2 months. And Kumari and I were friends for a long time, still friends to this day. And I was in a committed relationship with a guy named Courage. He owns this photography company called 2020 Photography. And if you go look, 2020 Photography, he's shot like Black China. He's a really good photographer. He's always been that. When I met him, I saw the potential in him that nobody else saw. Like, no one was paying him any attention. And during this time, I was pretty popular model. So what I did was I saw that he wanted to be a photographer. So I helped him work on his craft. And he ended up becoming like one of the best photographers inside of the entertainment industry. But does he ever give me credit for that? No. When he brings my name up in conversations, he tries to make it seem like it wasn't me that would sit up with him for hours and hours teaching, editing techniques and sitting up there for like hours trying to do photo shoots so he could test his lighting and shit. Stuff like that. I would sit up with him for hours at a time. Like all we did was work. All I did was help him work on his craft all day, every day. But when he speaks about me, he doesn't give me credit for being that woman. He tells other people negative things about me. He would speak publicly negatively about me. When we was together, he used to try to sabotage my business. And so the thing, it just boggles my mind that every guy that I ended up in a committed relationship with after things were over, instead of coming to the publicly saying how kind I was to them, how good I treated them, how I supported their dreams and their goals, how I invested my time, energy, and money into their shit, what they go do is try to depict me as something that I'm not. And that's what's stopping me from being in another relationship with a man. And it's almost stopping me from being in a friendship, because even with Michael, I never would have thought Michael would have moved to Utah. My son's godfather would move to Utah and then turn around and try to delete like stuff that I'm working on. Like, why would he do that? Because I thought once he moved to Utah, we done. We hadn't had a conversation. I haven't talked to him in months. So for me to go to my Facebook and to see he was trying to delete my Facebook watch page, knowing that that's where I post my videos, knowing that one of my sources of income is posting videos, why the fuck would you try to delete that page? I just don't understand. So now I'm just going to be very leery um, about what I want and what I am getting and what I'm requiring from these men. I just have to do better with that. And I want more women to, number one, stop giving men the benefit of the doubt. And when you catch them in that first big lie, because I caught Michael in his first big lie, when Justice was like 7 months. And that's when I found out he was married. Okay. And him and his ex-wife were sharing a storage unit. And that's when I should have stopped talking to Michael, even as a friend, because we wasn't even dating. And I found this out. I was like, why didn't you tell me something like this? Like, you sitting here fussing at me about Priest being separated from Sidonia and not speaking up, and your ass didn't say anything. So you in no position to even hate Priest, because you're doing the very thing he was doing. So just to feel like, here's another thing. I'm gonna keep it 100 with the women. You ever felt like unloved, like you're the unloved one all the time? That's what I felt like. I feel like every time I get in a relationship with a guy, right, I feel like he's always hiding from me the woman that he genuinely loves. And I'm just the woman that is such a good friend to him, such a nice person, so good of a person that he feels like he has to keep me around. And he also doesn't want to hurt my feelings. So he'll keep me around. Yeah, he care about me, but he's not in love with me how he's in love with these other women. That's what it feels like to me. It feels like that to me. Like, it was like that with Priest, because he still had these feelings for Sidonia, I guess. But then again, how terrible he treated her, putting her in a position to even be, in this little weird 3-ring circus we was in. You must not genuinely care about somebody to put them in such a thing. But for Michael to be hiding a woman, and for guys like when I start going over inventory and I start thinking about guys that I'm still friends with, guys that I used to date, guys that even a guy that I may have been sleeping with, I'm thinking, now that I'm looking at all of the relationships, it's always been like, there's always been like some woman they've been hiding. And I'm the unloved one that has no clue, right? That I'm the woman on the side, or I'm the woman that they're using to help get over their feelings for this other woman that they're not even telling me about. And then I don't find out about this woman until later. See, here's the thing. People never understood. Some people didn't understand why I brought up the story of me and Chris Law. Do y'all remember the story of me and Chris Law? Me and Chris Law, when I met Chris Law, he was in a relationship with a flight attendant. And this flight attendant was never around. She was always gone. And apparently she had cheated on him. Okay? Me and Chris started a friendship first. All right. And I just enjoyed Chris. Chris was such a fucking delight. He used to make me laugh so hard. I just enjoyed who he was as a person. He was handsome to me. Even though he was overweight, he was handsome to me. He had a beautiful smile to me. He had a good personality. He used to just laugh at the drop of a hat. And he just always had a good comeback every time I had something to say to him. He was very passionate. And what he had to say, he seemed like an intellectual guy, but still a street nigga at the same time. And I couldn't understand how an intellectual guy could also be a street nigga at the same time. So anyway, I used to just enjoy being around him. And I met him through a guy. I met Chris Law through a guy who I had met on some type of site. And when I met this guy on this site, right, he was a personal trainer. And his ass was like having like this casual thing with me because that's all I wanted around that time. When I met Chris, that's all I wanted. I was only in casual fling mind because I had just got out of a relationship where it was physically abusive and I had just had a miscarriage. And I just couldn't take it anymore. I just was like, I don't want to be in relationships anymore. And so by the time I met the personal trainer guy, all I wanted was like a casual thing. So we were like doing this casual thing. And I found out that this nigga was living with his girlfriend who was pregnant. So I stopped talking to him. I was so mad, but he had introduced me to Chris. And so with Chris, right, I respected Chris so much. And the reason why I respected him so much and was so comfortable with being his friend was because he was 100% with me from the beginning. He was 100% from the beginning. He flat out was like, I got a girlfriend and we engaged. I was like, thank you, nigga. Damn. Like, can't I get a guy that just be 100%? 100%. That's all I be needing. Like, that's all women be needing. Don't steal my choice. Let me choose whether or not I want to be on the side with you. Let me choose. Listen. Each woman is in a different phase in her life. Okay, you got women out there that want to be a wife. You got women out there that want to be in a committed relationship. You got women out there that want to be just a side chick. You got women out there that just want sex. And women are not being honest about that with men because men like to chastise us for being that. Okay, so with Chris, I respected him being honest with me because he didn't steal my choice. So I could choose to be his side chick if that's what I wanted. So that's what I chose because that's all I could be at that moment to any man. I couldn't be nobody's girlfriend or wife. I had been so brutally beat and disrespected and lied to in the committed relationship I was in before him. What I look like being in another relationship where I'm not even completely healed from that situation. So I got in this weird friendship with Chris, and he would tell me the issues with his marriage and how she had cheated on him and how she was lying and all types of stuff. And I really felt like we were genuinely friends. You know, like he was genuinely someone that I was not judging him for where he stood in his life. And so when he introduced me to the swingers lifestyle, and I was like, people do that. Like, I was like, that's a thing. He introduced me to different types of relationships, like polyamory, polygamy. I didn't even know these things were real. I thought this was like some like little made up thing that people do and no one could possibly be happy in a relationship that's non-monogamous. You know, I didn't even know there were such things. So he was teaching me this at the same time. And unfortunately for him participating in this type of behavior had more of his sexuality than more of him genuinely having love and care for another human being. See, when people do casual like flings, you ever seen two single people do a casual fling? When two single people are doing a casual fling, it doesn't mean that either one of those people needs to be disrespected simply because they're not in a monogamous relationship. That's not what that means. I think a lot of people think people who are promiscuous are supposed to be disrespected because they quote unquote don't have any type of respect for their body. Listen, the way that you carry yourself and the things that you do with your body doesn't necessarily apply to everyone. Some people out there just love having sex, you know. And with Chris, and I say this today, I said this then, I say it today. Chris is one of the best sex partners. I have yet to meet a man who has had better sex with me than Chris. Me and Chris had the best damn sex ever. I haven't met anybody else that I had sex with that good. Chris was the only person that I decided to just be his mistress, right? Because when I met him, he and I was just friends, and he was dating another girl who had cheated on him, and she was, you know, not around because she was a flight attendant, but he was engaged to her. So they were supposed to get married in a couple of months, and then they ended up getting married, and I still was sleeping with him after that. Which to me, I still feel like as a woman, I could have dealt with my personal feelings and my pain better than being, being somebody's mistress. That was a weird way to deal with my feelings. Like, why did I do that? But it kind of makes sense. But at the same time, why didn't I choose something better? You know what I mean? Why didn't I do something better than that to deal with my feelings? So with me deciding to be his mistress like that is all I could be. But still to this day, I have yet to find somebody that I had that much freedom sexually with. Okay, because I guess when you in a committed relationship, you kind of got some type of restraints or boundaries. I suppose I'm just assuming. But with Chris, we had so much freedom to do whatever it is that we wanted to do, and there was no pressure there because we didn't have a relationship. So it was just like no pressure there. And I'm not saying that it's right. It just felt a little bit easier to do sexually, and I felt more comfortable trying new things with him. And so I genuinely felt like we had a friendship there, and that, I could be myself around him and he could be himself around me. And we could talk about each other's relationships. And I never really talk a lot about my relationships to him. I left all that out. Like, I didn't talk to him about my relationships, my business, nothing, because I didn't want to. I only wanted to be physically connected to him. I did not want to mentally or emotionally be connected to him. So I wasn't, and I think I cared for him as a friend, and I loved him as like a best friend would love another, their best friend. But as far as me trying to be his wife or like his girlfriend or something like that, I never would have done that because I never looked at him in that way. I looked at him as like my friend, but I put him in like this little box of, he's just a guy that I sleep with and have a decent friendship, that I'll never be married to, that I'll never be in a relationship with. I love the type of man that he is, and I'll probably date a man that has similar qualities, but I'll never be with him. So once I put a guy in that box, I'm the type of person that does that. Once I put you in a specific place, that's just where you are. I don't take you out of it and put you somewhere else. It's hard for me to take you out that box and put you somewhere else. That's why it's so difficult for me when I broke up with my son's father. When, once I broke up with him, well, not even broke up with him. Once he broke up with me and I moved to California, it was very difficult for me to put him in the maybe we can work it out box. No, it was just like, this fuck nigga just told me he don't love me, he don't want our baby, and he want to get back with his estranged wife. What the fuck I look like? Putting him in the maybe we could get back together box. Fuck all that. I was like, I'm good. Right? No, I just do what I need to do to get over it. So what I noticed with the pattern with these guys, even though I'm building friendships with them, we are somehow losing respect for each other along the way. Or maybe they're losing respect for me along the way because I'm too cool. You can't be too cool with men. You can't be too cool with men. Okay? Because that's a whole nother video. That's a whole nother video. You can't be too cool with them. Because they be tripping, man. They take your kindness for weakness. They think if you allow them to do whatever it is that they want to do, that apparently you don't have any respect for yourself. So now it's their turn to not have respect for you. Like with Chris, I always just felt like I respect you as a man. I respect you as a human being. I also respect you for being honest about where you stand, so I could choose what I want to do with you. So I'm not going to disrespect your situation. I'm not going to, do anything to fuck up our friendship. But even after our situation was over, I never went around Atlanta or any other place and spoke negatively about him. I never did it. And when people would come to me and speak about him, they would always tell me that he said something negative about me. And I couldn't understand. I'd be like, why is he speaking negative? I always speak positive about him. I never tell people, our secrets. Because what we were doing was a secret. It wasn't like people publicly knew that he and I were sleeping together. Because I was his mistress. You can't go around and tell people no shit like that. But that's what he was doing. He was going around Atlanta telling any man he could find disrespectful shit about me, even though we always showed each other a level of respect when he and I was dealing with each other on a friendship level. So it really just disappointed me in the man he became after things were over. And that's what ends up happening with these relationships that I get in, where I'm played so hard by this guy that I can't even be friends with him anymore. Instead of him being honest about the experience we had when we was together, they go and they lie and they make me seem out to be something that I wasn't while I was with them. And that's the shit that's making me not want to be friends with no guy. Because I mean, like I said, I have males that I used to date that we're still cool to this day. I could talk to them. I could hit them up on Facebook. They could call me. We could text each other. I know they girlfriends. I know they wives. No, I'm not sleeping with them. We just cool. We just human beings, right? But then I got guys that fuck me over so bad that I'm not even cool with them. And those are the guys that go around and talk the most shit about me, even if I don't talk about them at all. And so I noticed that, with my son's father and with Chris Law and with Courage and with Lloyd, y'all heard about Lloyd. They don't tell people how good I was to them. They don't tell people none of that. They don't talk about what they did to destroy our friendship or our relationship. What they do is try to depict me as something that I'm not. And that's the shit that I can't stand about being in a relationship. What are these niggas gonna do when their relationship is over? How are they going to speak about me once that relationship is over? Are they gonna still respect the fact that we had something good when we were together? Whether we were just friends and fucking each other, or whether we was friends and that's it, are they gonna try to destroy me? And that's what I've noticed they try to do. They try to destroy me. And it's almost like they mad because they can't have me as a friend or they can't have me as a girlfriend. So they do whatever they can to destroy me. So if you know what that's about, or if you can relate, let me know once this video is loaded. Put something in the comment section, okay? I appreciate y'all watching. Have vision and stay focused. Namaste.
Okay, so what you think? Did you hear the part in the beginning where she said she was dating some dude named Michael and gave him admin control of her Facebook account just in case she passed away or something happens to her? She goes on to say that he tried to delete her Facebook account out of spite from their failed relationship. I think she was plotting to use this go-to story as to the reason why we're seeing a lot of weird shit on her social media accounts, because she's having issues from a scorned lover. This video was done on April 14th, so she's been setting up this plot for weeks now. But I tell you one thing, this whole thing ain't got nothing to do with no damn cyberbullying. Sansa Ray's biggest problem is her baby daddy issues and the fact that she is struggling across the board as a single mother. Just to put things in proper context, her first baby daddy had custody of her daughter and allowed Sansa Ray to stay in a back room because he felt sorry for her. At the time, she thought she was just cohabitating and being a mother, when in reality, she was just smooching and being a big sister to her daughter. But now she is exposed and has to be a real mother with real responsibilities for her baby's justice. I just hate that she waited until she was 40 years old to finally grow the fuck up. Okay, after the Cash App promo, let's move this conversation over to the chat room. I would like to thank you for sharing your time with me today. Shout out to all the chat room members and listeners that may be listening in your car, at home watching this on television, working out, or just taking a break at work. Your time is greatly appreciated. I also welcome all visitors. I'm always in the chat room providing commentary on videos, so when you come in, subscribe, and then introduce yourself in the chat. This presentation is supported by a Cash App promotion. If you do not have Cash App, click on my referral link in the description box and comment section. Copy and paste the referral code after the Cash App download, and you and I will receive $5 after you start making transactions. If you already have Cash App, feel free to make a donation at $EbonyMan2K. That's $EbonyMan2K. If you have other methods of payment like Venmo and PayPal, send me an email at EbonyMan2K@gmail.com and I will forward you my information. Again, I appreciate your time. This is EbonyMan2K. Now, if you're listening to this during the premiere, we will now transition our discussion into the chat room.